Hey folks, Matthew Weiss here, WeissAdvice.com and Weiss Advice here on YouTube. In this video, I want to show a specific little technique that I was kind of screwing around with stuff and accidentally stumbled on. Basically, if you're familiar with old Teddy Riley records, you're used to his use of a Talkbox, going through a synth keyboard of some sort, creating this like really fun, brassy sound, or, you know, you're used to like the Tupac California Love, the California Love thing, right? I wanted that effect in this passage, but I didn't have the equipment needed to make that exact sound. So I kind of figured out how to sort of do it my own way and came up with a kind of cool, unique result. So instead of playing the result first, which is what I normally do, I'm going to play what it originally sounded like first, and then I'm going to put on the effects.
Run to the arms of the city.
Now, it already sounds a little bit like there's some kind of an effect, like some kind of pitch correction on there that was done by the producer, maybe like some kind of melodyning. So there's a little bit of brassy overtone that you kind of associate with a vocoder, but I'm going to go to like the 10th degree with it. Here we go. That's kind of cool, right? Like, let me solo it real quick.
Yeah, just wanna run to the city lights, yeah.
It's so neat. Anyway, I'll give you the formula here. So the first one, you know, when you're thinking about vocoders, there are certain things that should come to mind. First of all, auto-tune is kind of a vocoder. There's some technical stuff to it that's kind of above my pay grade here, but it's a linear phase-based vocoder, some stuff like that. I don't know. But if you're used to the auto-tune effect at this point. If you really push the retune speed up, you're going to get that robot-y kind of tone.
Yeah, just wanna run to the city lights, yeah.
So right off the bat, that's already making things a little bit more talkboxy. Let's pop over here. Those brassy tones are in the top end. So we're going to get rid of these lows, get those top end frequencies up.
Yeah, just wanna run to the city lights, yeah.
Now, here's where the fun innovation, where it's like sometimes you get an idea in your head and you're like, I wonder if this would work. And then it does, and you kind of surprise yourself, and you're like, I'm a genius! But really, it's mostly you just got lucky, but maybe also kind of you do know what you're doing. That's sort of what happened in this exact moment. So I was like, what is it about vocoders that makes them work? Well, it's the formants from the mouth that control, the shape of the mouth controls the formants of whatever is generating your harmonic tone, and that's what makes it sound like it's talking, right? It's your vowel sounds, your A, E, I, O, U's that basically move these filters that effectively make a synth or a guitar or a talkbox or whatever sound like it's speaking. So what happens if I start messing around with the formants? So I started shifting formants around to see what kind of tones I would get and using a mix knob in addition to it. So I shifted the formants down and I ended up with this.
Yeah, just wanna run to the city lights, yeah.
Without?
Yeah, just wanna run to the city lights, yeah. Yeah, just wanna run to the city lights, yeah.
So you start hearing phasing and comb filtering and something that sounds slightly vocody, and then I was like, well, what happens if I then take another one and I go the opposite direction?
Yeah, just wanna run to the city lights, yeah.
And that's the secret sauce to this sound. It's two formant shifters going in opposite directions with the mix somewhere around 50%.
Yeah, just wanna run to the city lights, yeah.
Without.
Yeah, just wanna run to the city lights, yeah. Yeah, just wanna run to the city lights, yeah.
And I think that sounds cool. The very last bit of it is a chorus to make it sound a little bit more like a synth. Chorusing can be really, really good for that. And so you can see that the mix is actually very high on this chorus too. It's like 75%. So here is our chorus.
Yeah, just wanna run to the city lights, yeah.
So to recap it, the overall formula is heavy auto-tune, which isn't necessary if you don't want to make it too synthy, because that's not where the timbre comes from. But I do think that it's going to work most of the time to use heavy auto-tune. So very, very fast retune speed auto-tune. Then a formant shifter going down with the mix knob somewhere in the realm of 50%. And then right after it, in series, a formant shifter going back up, again, in about 50%. That's going to cause a lot of those weird brassy harmonic metallic tones. It's going to cause some phasing, some comb filtering, making it sound very synthy. And then lastly, a chorus plugin. And this last effect you can also modify. You can change it to a doubler, you can change it to like a Dimension D kind of thing. You could do it like with a flanger or something. It's just an effect to make it feel wider in the stereo field and more synth-like. Then from there, that's your core sound. Everything else after that is like it's like this all could get committed, and that's the sound. And then all of this stuff afterwards is the mixing of the sound. So compression, multiband, de-essing, all that kind of regular stuff that we do to fit something into a mix. So I'll play it without that stuff.
Yeah, just wanna run to the city lights, yeah.
With.
Yeah, just wanna run to the city lights, yeah.
And in context one last time. This is one of those things where it's like when somebody else is trying, like when somebody else hears the record, they write to the engineer and they say, could you make an effect that sounds like this? And then the other engineer has to kind of figure out like what the heck is going on. It becomes a very unique, hard to imitate sound, although you can kind of get into the ballpark because you can kind of know what's going on. It's like, oh, it's kind of like a vocoder Talkbox kind of thing. Let me try a Talkbox effect, right? And you might get something that works in place of it, but to get this exact sound, you would have to know this exact formula. I think this would be really cool as like, you know, like ad-libs that happen in rap vocals sometimes. Like, you know, a lot of times we hear those like super reverberated, filtered ad-lib kind of things, you know, where it's like way in the background and it's filtered and distorted and covered in reverb. This could like be a nice way of switching that sort of idea up a little bit. I don't know, you figure out where you would maybe want to use it and you use it. So that's why I made the video, so that you can make it yours. And I'll go ahead. Okay, so let's wrap up this video here because clearly the rambling has started. If you like this video, hit that like button. If you want to catch more videos like this, hit subscribe with the bell notification. If you're interested in this kind of approach to things, I have a tutorial. Now, it's a secret tutorial kind of on the website because the title is a little misleading in terms of what you could use it for. It's called the Halloween Sound Design Effects Tutorial, and it's oriented around creating strange manipulations of vocals, but I also demonstrate those same kind of effects that I'm using on things like drums and bass and guitar. This kind of stuff is in there. You'll find a lot of really fun little tips and tricks and maneuvers and things like that in that stuff. And it's done for dialogue, but it really translates over to music very well. The link to that will be in the description below. And lastly, you know what we say here at Weiss Advice. We are musicians, sound is our instrument, and I will catch you next time.